SoftServe. Okay, now this project is based on concept of software as a service model. Okay, so basically a new approach to a software where right initially what we used to do is we used to install a software on an individual machine and then used to access the software. But now using this project we are redefining the approach for accessing the software. So that's why it's a new approach to a software. Okay, now let's see what is the agenda for today's session. Basically it's an abstract. Okay, brief description about the project, then what are the current scenario, what are the the limitation of the existing system, then we have a proposed solution, what we are doing to overcome those limitations, and then we are dealing with the block diagram, that is the architecture diagram of the project, the hardware and software requirements. Okay, it will be related to a server as well as a client, and what are the features that this project is providing, what are the benefit and advantage that will be uh, that the user will get after implementing this project, and what is the future scope of this project and where it can be applied. Okay, so let's see, first thing that the abstract. It's basically introduction about the project. Okay, so it's software as a service. The SoftServe is based on a concept of it's a model based on a cloud computing, and inside a cloud computing we have many other verticals. So one of the verticals is basically a software as a service. Now what do you mean by a software as a service? We are delivering a software on the as a service through a internet. Now in this scenario the software will be hosted on a central server. Okay, and user will be able to access this software using just a web browser. Now softwares are typically accessed by using a thin client. When we see thin client, it will always be a web browser only. Okay, over the internet we can access it. The benefit of this is user will not have to install the softwares at each and every machine. Okay, whenever user goes, he has to just access the software using a URL or using a login ID and password. It also eliminates the problem of maintaining, upgrading the software as well. Okay, as the software comes in, there are new versions available, so every time we have to get updated to a new version so that we can make use best of the features available in the new version. Now let's see, look at the current scenario. Okay, what is the current scenario? Let's say today a user has installed some of the softwares on his local machine, on his home at a desktop. Now when the user moves from one machine to another, let's say he moves to some of his relative or over to some of his friends. Now that software is not available at his friend's machine. Okay, now the problem is, though he has paid a license cost and all these things, but still he is not able to access those software because it is installed on his home machine. Okay, so this is one of the problem. Second is the license cost. Okay, the license cost is very much huge. The third is the memory space consumption. When we say a memory, some of those softwares like Photoshop and all those things, flash and all these things, they require large configurations to work it very efficiently. Okay, if your PC does not support that configuration or space requirement, you will not be able to install those softwares. And again the same point, the software requires not supporting the PC configuration. Let's say the 3D animation software requires a graphic card and all those things. Okay, but if your PC does not have those configuration, you will not be able to install that software on your machine. Okay, so what is the proposed solution? The proposed solution is the software will be provided as a service to the user. User don't have to install a software on a local machine. Okay, it will be installed on a server, and the server will be having all the configuration. It will be a hand configuration. Okay, the graphic cards and all those things which are required for a particular software. User can access the software without getting installed on their machine. Okay, so same thing. Now the project is implemented via two ways. The free and open source softwares can be accessed directly. Okay, so there is a no cost involved in it. But in case of the licensed software, user has to pay some amount, get a member, become a member, and then only he can access the softwares. Now this is a block diagram. This is a very simple block diagram where we have a centrally hosted server. Okay, so this will be a server, will be actually a cloud. Okay, and the different clients can connect to a server and access the software. Okay, now let's see the hardware and software requirements. Now we have categorized into two parts, that is a server and a client. So if it's a server, it should be a Pentium Core 2 or above processor, minimum 2 GB RAM. So this is a minimum configuration that is required. Okay, it maximum can be anything, but minimum your server should support this much processor, this much RAM, this much hard disk. And for the client also, it's a Pentium 4 or above processor, 512 MB RAM, 40 GB hard disk, Ethernet port and a LAN cable. Similarly for the software requirements, okay, now this software requirements here, the mention is keeping the mind the scope of the project. Okay, for the scope of this project we are basically including a compilers, some file conversion softwares and all those things. So keeping those scope in mind, the softwares here are mentioned. Future, in a future scope you can include many other softwares as well, depending what all service you are providing to the user. So as a server thing, we have a Windows 2000, Vista 7, anything. We require a .NET framework, okay, for compiling C# programs, Visual Studio. Then we have a JDK for compiling Java, WAMP server for running the PHP files, and different file conversion softwares. At a client side, we just need a operating system and a web browser. Okay, client should not have any software installed. Now what are the features? Features is software will be available 365 days 24/7. Okay, you go anywhere, anytime, you can access those software. Wide range of software, there can be multiple softwares that can be accessible, can be accessed or can be used. Download of result file or output files. Okay, let's say in case of some of the softwares, the output is some kind of a file, so you can download those files as well. Facility to save result file on the server. Okay, so for a premium, as I said, we have two kinds of user, that's a free user and a premium user. For a premium user, the files will be saved on a server, so at a later point of time, if a user has to access those files, he can access it. What are the benefits? No installations of software is required. Okay, so user does not have to install anything. Okay, because in some of the high-end softwares, it requires a very complex installation. You have to do some settings and all those things, so that uh, burden is overcome. 24/7 availability of software, less memory utilization. Since you are not installing a software on your machine, you are not consuming any memory. Then obviating the need for downloadable patches and upgrades. Okay, now this is one more thing where most user face problem. You download a software, but there are upgrades coming in or there are patches coming in. Okay, so every time you have to install those patches and upgrades, otherwise your software will not be up to date till what the vendor is providing. From the software vendor standpoint, SaaS helps in preventing a pirating. Okay, now this is again one of the advantage from the vendor's point of view. When I say a vendors, it means a software distributor. Okay, let's take an example that MS Office is a licensed product, right? So what we usually do is we install it on a local machine, we distribute to our friends also, they also use the same key and they install it. Now the problem is you have paid for a one license, but it's being used by many of the users. So from the Microsoft point of view, it's a loss to Microsoft, right? Now with the help of this, since you are not providing any installation kind of thing, the installation is done on the server. Okay, so there will be the piracy will be overruled. Clear? Now what user has to do is, you has to sign up for a premium account. User will be given a minimum number of hours, say 500 hours. Okay, so he can utilize that 500 hours for accessing those software. Now user will not be able to share this username and password. Why? Because if user shared his username and password, his 500 hours will get deducted. Okay, so user will not be able to access all the 500 hours if he shares username and password. Reduces the risk of malwares and viruses. If we again, if we download any software from any of the site, there are chances that the malware and viruses come along with the softwares. Okay, so that risk is completely eliminated. Now application, we can use it in a software industry. Okay, that this is being used, then we can also use in offices and the colleges. Okay, so this was overall about a SoftServe. Okay, keeping a project scope in mind, right now it's being we have implemented a compiler, file conversion softwares, and viewing files online. I mean, let's say if you do not have a MS Word installed on your, but if still you want to view the MS Word file, you can still view it. Okay, so that kind of thing which we have implemented in this project. Okay, so thank you all.